Good morning, friends, and welcome back to GM Philosophy in the Morning. I'm the GM Philosopher. Today we're talking about tools as per the official D&D Player's Handbook rules for 2024. Now, on page 220 of the Player's Handbook, you'll find the section for tools. This section is 2 pages long and basically outlines rules for tools, uses for tools, and some crafting rules. Now, I'm getting ready to launch a campaign that's going to have a bunch of survival and crafting involved, and so I've been brushing up on tool use rules, and you're going to find this interesting. If you have not dug deeply into tools, I'm going to tell you all about it in this episode. Now, if you don't have the Player's Handbook yet, you are going to need that for sure if you want to delve deeply into tools. Link to that is in the description, along with links to the other official D&D books, Monsters Manual and DMG. I'm a qualified Amazon affiliate, so if you click down in the description and you purchase those through me, I may earn a very small commission off your purchase at no additional cost to you. That helps to support the channel, and I thank you for that very much. For that being said, let's dive into this. I'm going to basically show you everything and tell you about it and run you through some interesting stuff you may not have known about tools before. So boom, let's go. All right, so what we're looking at here is a screenshot of the official Player's Handbook 2024 version, Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook, the Tools section, page 220. So let's just start going through this. You might find some of this interesting. First of all, tools. A tool helps you make specialized ability checks, craft certain items, or both. A tool's description includes the tool's cost and weight, as well as the following entries. Ability. This entry lists the ability to use when making an ability check with the tool. Utilize. This entry lists things you can do with the tool when you take the utilize action. You can do one of those things each time you take the action. This entry also provides a DC for the action. Craft. This entry lists what, if anything, you can craft with the tool. For crafting rules, see crafting equipment later in the chapter. Variants. This entry appears if the tool has variants which are listed. Each requires a separate proficiency. So, tool proficiency. Let's talk about this for a second. If you have proficiency with a tool, add your proficiency bonus to any ability check you make that uses the tool. If you have proficiency in a skill that's used with that check, you have advantage on the check too. Your features might give you proficiency with a tool. A monster has proficiency with any tool in its stat block. So this is really interesting. I want to draw your attention to this part. If you have proficiency in a skill that's used with that check, you have advantage on the check too. So for example, if you're using alchemist supplies, you have the ability intelligence, right? But you're proficient with the alchemist supplies toolkit. So you're obviously going to add your proficiency modifier and your intelligence modifier when you try to create something with this or use this kit. But if you have proficiency in any intelligence-based skill that might be used in the creation of these things, then you also, as a bonus to those things, you gain advantage on the check. Note that you do not add proficiency bonus twice, right, for the skill and for the tool proficiency. It just, if it doubles up, you get advantage. So that's an interesting thing to know, and I think that's an important thing to know. All right, let's talk about artisan's tools. Artisan's tools are each focused on crafting items and pursuing a trade. Each of these tools requires a separate proficiency. So alchemist supplies is one type of tool. Ability intelligence. Utilize. You can identify a substance with this for DC 15 or start a fire DC 15. You can craft the following things: acid, alchemist's fire, component pouch, oil, paper, and perfume. This is super interesting. When it says component pouch, you would think, well, isn't that a leatherworking skill? But I think what they're talking about is when you're basically, creating an alchemist component pouch, what that's doing is, remember, a component pouch basically has a whole bunch of different like alchemical and ingredient supplies that spellcasters can use. And so you would just, knowing the spellcaster's needs, you can make a crafting check to put together a component pouch for them. So this isn't literally the pouch, it's literally like the components in the pouch, which is kind of interesting and fun. We also have brewer's supplies, intelligence. You can use it to craft antitoxins, which is kind of interesting. You can also detect poison drink or identify alcohol. Calligrapher's supplies. This is one that I really like, and I use. Grom uses calligrapher's supplies. Ability is dexterity. Utilize. Write text with impressive flourishes that guards against forgery. DC 15. You can craft ink. And you could also craft spell scroll. That's kind of a different thing, but anyway, it's interesting that you can craft ink with calligrapher's supplies. Carpenter's tools. It's a strength ability check. Use it to seal or pry open a door or a container. And you can craft things like a club, a great club, a quarterstaff, a barrel, a chest, a ladder, a pole, portable ram, and a torch. Now, I'm assuming you could also craft things like, a door, build a staircase, build a barricade, things like that. Right? So it's open-ended. You have to be open-ended with these things. But these are some examples of things you can craft. Cartographer's tools, map making stuff, wisdom ability check. You draft a map of a small area, DC 15, and you can craft a map. Cobbler's tools, ability dexterity. Utilize to modify footwear to give advantage on the wearer's next dexterity or acrobatics check. That is super interesting. DC 10 to do that. And you could craft a climber's kit with cobbler's tools. Cook's utensils. Ability is wisdom. Utilized to improve food's flavor, DC 10, or detect spoiled or poisonous food, DC 15. You can craft rations with this. Seems pretty common sense, but hey, it's pretty awesome. Glass blower's tools. Ability is intelligence. You can utilize it to discern what a glass object held in the past 24 hours. Now, that is really interesting. Discern what a glass object held. So in other words, did this hold milk? Or did it hold water? Or was there acid in here? Was there poison in here? I'm wondering if it's like that, or if it's more like, was it a liquid or was it a powder? I feel like that's left up to GM's discretion. You can craft a glass bottle, a magnifying glass, a spyglass, or a vial using the glass blower's tools. All right, jeweler's tools. Intelligence ability score. You can utilize to discern a gem's value, DC 15, or craft things like an arcane focus or a holy symbol. That's super cool to me. And then leatherworker's tools. Ability is dexterity. You can utilize this to add a design to a leather item, DC 10, or you can craft things like a sling, a whip, hide armor, studded leather armor, backpack, crossbow bolt case, map or scroll case, parchment, pouch, quiver, water skin, etc. Anyway, so that's the page 1 of the tool section. Now we're going to go to page 2. But real quick, I want to ask you, do your players ever, go off script with your plans? Do you ever do session prep and then realize very quickly, these players are not going to do a single thing I planned on. I'm going to have to throw it all away, going to have to figure something out on the fly. If so, then you're going to want to take a look at this ebook that I created. This is called the GM Philosopher's Ultimate Plot Randomizer. Ignite your campaign with endless adventure. This is a book that contains 4 D100 tables to help you random roll plot arcs on the fly. Roll on a hook table, a complications table, climax table, even a wild and wacky table to throw plot twist elements at your players that they would never see coming. I literally use this ebook every single day, and I make it available to my audience for free. All you have to do is sign up for my email list. The link is in the description. If you sign up for my email list, you'll get a free autoresponder email within moments of signing up that'll contain the download link to this ebook. Just click on it, download it, print it out, put it with your stuff, and boom, you can be rolling plot hooks for days. If you love rolling D100s and you love rolling plot hooks and you love fixing plot arcs that your characters have just derailed with their spontaneity and creativity, God bless those players. Well, this is exactly what you've been looking for. So boom, grab that. It is in the description. You're not going to want to miss it. And now let's get back in and take a look at the second page of these tools. All right, let's take a look at this second page of tools. Let's go up here to the Mason's tools. Ability is strength. Utilize chisel a symbol or hole in stone, DC 10. You can craft block and tackle with this. I'm also pretty sure that you could use Mason's tools to do things like build a brick wall, maybe even to create bricks out of mud and clay and that kind of thing. I feel like as a GM I would allow that. But anyway, Mason's tools could be important for that. Painter's supplies. This is governed by wisdom. Utilize paint a recognizable image of something you've seen. You can craft a druidic focus or a holy symbol with this. I'm also assuming you could create paintings, works of art, etc. Though those are maybe not as so functional that be listed here, I would still allow it for sure. Potter's tools, ability, intelligence, utilized to discern what a ceramic object held in the past, or I'm sorry, utilized to discern what a ceramic object held in the past. You can also craft a jug or a lamp. So you to discern what a ceramic object held. Does that mean like different types of liquid, or does that mean like a powder or a liquid? Again, I think that's left up to GM discretion, maybe on how well they roll on it. It is an intelligence ability. Let's talk about Smith's tools. Ability is strength, utilized to pry open a door or container. You can craft, though, any melee weapon except a club, great club, quarterstaff, or whip with these tools. Craft medium armor except hide, heavy armor, ball bearings, bucket, caltrops, chain, crowbar, firearm bullets, grappling hook, iron pot, iron spikes, or sling bullets. Pretty awesome. All right, Tinker's tools, ability, dexterity, utilized to assemble a tiny item composed of scrap, which falls apart in 1 minute. Which is kind of interesting. You can craft things like musket, pistol, bell, bullseye lantern, flask, hooded lantern, hunting trap, lock, manacles, mirror, shovel, signal whistle, and tinderbox. All right, let's talk about Weaver's tools. Ability is dexterity, utilized to mend a tear in clothing, DC 10, or sew a tiny design, DC 10. You can craft padded armor, basket, bedroll, blanket, fine clothes, net, robe, rope, sack, string, tent, traveler's clothes. Now let's talk about woodcarver's tools. Ability is dexterity, utilized to carve a pattern in wood, DC 10, craft a club, great club, quarterstaff, ranged weapons, except pistol, musket, and sling, arcane focus, arrows, bolt, druidic focus, ink pen, or needles. Interesting that with the calligrapher's tools, you could craft ink. You need the woodcarver's tools to craft the ink pen. It's kind of interesting. All right, let's go to these other tools. These tools support adventure and other pursuits. So disguise kit, ability is charisma. You can utilize to apply makeup, DC 10. You can craft a costume with it. There's a forgery kit, ability, dexterity, utilized to mimic 10 or fewer words of someone else's handwriting, DC 10, or duplicate a wax seal, DC 20. That's pretty cool, actually. I had a player once who was playing like a con artist rogue, and so forgery was a big deal for his character. Gaming set, and this varies, and I feel like there's a lot of confusion about gaming sets, but the ability is wisdom, utilized to discern whether someone is cheating, DC 10, or to win the game, DC 20. So when you're playing a game in D&D, so like let's say you sit down to a game of dragon chess, or you're playing cards, you don't actually roll against the other players. There's a DC to win. I'm assuming unless you're playing against other players, then you roll on a wisdom with proficiency if you're proficient with the gaming set, and try to achieve a higher DC, but you need a 20 to win. Variants include dice, dragon chess, playing cards, and 3 dragon ante. Now we have a herbalism kit, ability intelligence. You can utilize to identify a plant, DC 10. You can craft antitoxin, candle, healer's kit, or a potion of healing. Musical instrument varies. Now this one's pretty important to me because I literally play a bard who plays the viol. So we have utilized to play a known tune, DC 10, or improvise a song, DC 15. Variants include bagpipes, drum, dulcimer, flute, horn, lute, lyre, pan flute, shawm, or viol. Now we have navigator's tools. I'm sorry these got a little washed out by the light, but navigator's tools, ability wisdom, utilized to plot a course, DC 10, or determine position by stargazing, DC 15. Poisoner's kit, 50 gold pieces. Ability intelligence, utilize, detect a poisoned object, DC 10. Craft basic poison. And then we have thieves tools. The ability is dexterity, utilized to pick a lock, DC 15, or disarm a trap, DC 15. Now this is this is an interesting thing, and this is, I feel like, something that a lot of people don't understand about thieves tools, because in 3rd edition, picking a lock was a skill, but in the 2024 Player's Handbook 5e version of D&D, you actually use the Thieves' Tools proficiency to pick a lock or disarm a trap, and you need the Thieves' Tools to pick the lock or disarm the trap. Now, as a GM, I don't know if you would let a player go ahead and try to pick a lock or disarm a trap anyway, and set the DC high or give them disadvantage. I don't know. I feel like the GM would have to make a pretty serious ruling on that, because you think about it like, well, anyone could try to pick a lock, but if you have no experience picking a lock, there's probably not a very good chance you succeed. But if you have thieves' tools and you're proficient, well, then the DC is 15, which is actually still relatively high, to be honest. It's on the higher side. But anyway, so boom. Now, you can't really talk about tools without talking about the crafting rules. Crafting is going to be a huge part of my upcoming survival type campaign in the Arctic wilderness, and I've been taking a closer look at them. Now, it's not surprising really to see that crafting takes up less than a whole page in the 2024 5e Player's Handbook, and it's on page 233, and I'm just going to put it up on the screen here. We're going to go through it really quick. All right, once again, this page is found on 233 of the 2024 5e Player's Handbook. I would suggest that if you haven't ordered this yet, you do so. There's a link down in the description, as I said toward the beginning of the video. I'm a qualified Amazon affiliate, so if you purchase it through me, I will earn a small commission at no additional cost to you and helps to support the channel. Heck yeah. So let's dive into this a little bit more. Crafting equipment. Using the rules below, characters can make non-magical potions of healing and spell scrolls. Crafting non-magical items. To craft a non-magical item, you need tools, raw materials, and time, each of which is detailed below. If you meet the requirements, you make the item, and you can use it or sell it at its normal price. So there's basically tools, raw materials, and time, and that's kind of the three things you need to craft things. So tools. This chapter's tools section lists which tools are required, and we've already discussed the tools. The DM assigns required tools for most or for items not listed here. So yeah, if you want to craft something and it's just you don't see it anywhere, the DM is probably going to make a common sense ruling about that. And you as a GM, that would be your job. You would be like, okay, you want to craft a fine dining chair. Okay, it's going to be carpenter's tools, right? Or whatever. Wood carver's tools, maybe both. But whatever. You must use the required tool to make an item and have proficiency with that tool. Anyone who helps you must also have proficiency. So this is interesting. You must use the required tool to make an item. So in other words, you can't substitute. You can't try to make something with a tool set that doesn't qualify. And if it's not written, you want to listen to your GM about that, right? So you as the GM, again, would make the decision. And it's important that they have proficiency with that tool. Someone can't just grab a set of tools and start working with it. As a GM, you'd want to be like, whoa, are you proficient with that tool? If not, you're going to have to find someone who is, right? Or take a feat to do it, some such business like that. All right, raw materials. To make an item, you need raw materials worth half its purchase cost, round down. For example, you need 750 gold pieces of raw materials to make plate armor, which sells for 1,500 gold pieces. The DM determines whether appropriate raw materials are available. So this is actually really interesting. Imagine trying to make plate armor in the Arctic wilderness. What are they going to need? They're going to need to mine iron ore and start to smelt it down, maybe, or scavenge armor from corpses, right? So making plate armor gets really difficult out in the middle of nowhere. But of course, in a city or something where you can go buy some metal, it's not such a big deal. Now, let's talk about the time part of it, okay? To determine how many days, working 8 hours a day, it takes to make an item, divide its purchase cost in gold pieces by 10. I'm sorry, this came out a little fuzzy. Round a fraction up to a day. For example, you need 5 days to make a heavy crossbow, which sells for 50 gold pieces. Okay, so let me just explain that for a minute. I'm going to break that down just a little more. To determine how many days, working 8 hours a day, it takes to make an item, divide its purchase cost in gold pieces. So, a heavy crossbow sells for 50 gold pieces. When we divide that by 10, and then you round fractions up to a day, it boils down to needing 5 full days to make a heavy crossbow. So that's how the time element works. If an item requires multiple days, the days needn't be consecutive. Characters can combine their efforts to shorten the crafting time. Divide the time needed to create an item by the number of characters working on it. Okay, so if you take the crossbow, then characters can combine their efforts, divide the time needed to create an item. So it's 50 or 5 days Divide the time needed to create an item by the number of characters working on it. 5 divided by 2 would be 2.5, round a fraction up to a day. So 3. It would take 2 people 3 days to build the heavy crossbow, as opposed to 1 person 5 days. Normally, only 1 other character can assist you, but the DM might allow more assistance. All right, now let's talk about brewing potions of healing. A character who has proficiency with the herbalism kit can create a potion of healing. Doing so requires using that kit and 25 GP of raw materials over the course of 1 day, 8 hours of work, which actually, in my way of thinking, I don't know, like for a potion of healing is actually kind of powerful in 5e, but that's a lot of raw material gold pieces. So I don't know. Maybe you should go hire a healer. I don't know. Like, that's kind of a lot. But then again, you can carry it with you, and even your fighters can carry it, So I don't know, man. There are some elements of the crafting in 5e that I kind of feel like almost make crafting not worth it. Like, you may as well go buy it. But then the people, like the NPCs in game, are crafting it. But here's the thing, they're crafting it because they're not adventurers. That's their job. Your player characters are adventurers, so maybe their time is better spent adventuring and getting gold from the kobold lair and then buying their large crossbow and healing potions in town. I don't know. I mean, that's up to the players, obviously. These are just things I think about when I look at these rules. And then we have scribing spell scrolls. Now, the scribing spell scrolls is pretty simple. A spellcaster can transfer a spell to a scroll and create a spell scroll using the rules below. Time and cost. Scribing a scroll takes an amount of time and money based on the level of the spell, as shown in the spell scroll cost table. For each day of inscription, you must work 8 hours. If a scroll requires multiple days, those days need to be consecutive. So for each day of inscription, you must work for 8 hours. It takes total an amount of time and money based on the level of the spell. Okay, so prerequisites for the scribe. To scribe a scroll, you must have proficiency in the Arcana skill or with calligrapher's tools, and have the spell prepared on each day of the inscription. So actually, you could use the Arcana skill or calligrapher's tools for this. You must also have at hand any material components required by the spell. If the spell consumes its material components, they are consumed only when you complete the scroll. The scroll's spell uses your spell save DC and spell attack bonus, so yours, the person who's crafting it. All right, cantrips. If the scribed spell is a cantrip, the version on the scroll works as if the caster were your level. So here's the time it would take. So there's cantrip would take 1 day, first level spell 1 day, second level spell 3 days, third level spell 5 days. That's actually quite a lot of time, right? And then the cost, but you must also have at hand any material components required by the spell. You must also, so the cost doesn't even take into account the material components. This is just to scribe the scroll. So it's pretty expensive, actually, in game anyway. Now, with that being said, there is one more thing we need to talk about in this discussion, and that is this. Do your adventures ever take really unexpected turns? I'm not talking about just plot arcs. I'm talking about everything. The antagonist, quests, locations, settings, tone, atmosphere, environment, obstacles, challenges, key NPCs, complications, rewards, consequences, even the epilogue and the aftermath. Listen, if you love creating fresh adventures, but sometimes just feeling a little bit stale, I've got the perfect tool for you. It's called the GM Philosopher's Ultimate Adventure Generator, a massive collection of 163 random roll tables to assist you in generating amazing fantasy adventures. This is 310 pages of printer-friendly random table awesomeness. Check out these random tables. There are random tables for days and days and days, and they govern every single aspect of adventure creation. I mean, I'm talking about adventure themes, defining the main quest, choosing settings and locations, identifying the main antagonist, determining key NPCs, generating obstacles and challenges, adding complications, plot twists, and so much more. Literally like 16 chapters of stuff. And take a look at what's in these chapters. Let's take a look at chapter 1. We have selecting the adventure theme, roll on adventure theme, primary theme, setting, environment, tone and mood, secondary theme, cultural inspiration, magic level, tech level, and then significant supernatural events that may play a role in the plot, conflict scale, and more. And plus down here at the end, plug and play adventure theme ideas, a D20 table, 20 plug and play themes. Your characters jump into a world, you got nothing prepared, boom, roll on this and you'll have something to jumpstart and go. And a lot of these chapters have D100 tables in them. For example, chapter 2, define the main quest or objective. We go through all the rest of these tables. We get all the way down here to the end, plug and play quest lines, D100 table, literally 100 quest lines. There are like 20 or more D100 tables in this book, at least 163 random roll tables altogether. This book is literally what I've been using for years and years to help me generate awesome, fresh adventures. This is just a more polished, finalized, put together version of it. And you can buy this on my personal bookstore right now. It's only $5.99. $5.99 gets you 310 print-friendly pages, 163 massive random roll tables to help you create amazing adventures. And guess what? If you enjoy my channel, you enjoy my content, we're doing big things here at GM Philosophy. Every time you purchase a book, this goes to help support the channel. So I just want to give you a huge thank you and appreciate you. I am a small creator and every little bit helps. And every time a person orders an ebook, hey, this gives me a huge boost to help support the channel. So if you choose to click through and order that, link is in the description. Consider me supported, and I'm massively grateful creator for having you as an awesome viewer. So thank you so much for that. And I hope that you love this adventure generator as much as I do. And with that being said, I believe that that is a wrap. Thank you for coming back for another episode of GM Philosophy in the Morning. I'm here every single day creating videos about the best game in the world, D&D, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, 7 days a week. I also do coffee break lives every afternoon, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure to tune in then. You're not going to want to miss it. Hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. And with that being said, I will see you awesome people on the next one. Roll some D100s for me in your next adventure. Boom. Catch you later.